Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome back. Kellen here again with a Droid Life, a new watch in front of me. Hold on, watch guy, before you exit right now. I know I just talked about the Galaxy Watch 3, didn't love it. It's a story for another day. Also know I got excited about the Fold 2. So if anything, just be excited that I'm excited for more things. But this one, though, it's Wear OS. We're back on it. The importance, though, is so huge here. For one, Mobvoi TicWatch Pro 3 GPS. I don't know why the GPS. TicWatch Pro 3, but it runs Qualcomm's new chipset. So Wear OS has been dead forever because we've been relying on Qualcomm, and they've released absolutely nothing that matters to power the platform forward. This one could be. We're not crossing fingers. We are just hoping that all players involved make some magic. Either way, this runs the Snapdragon Wear 4100 Plus. It's the first one to do it. This could be fun. It could be. So let's unbox it. This is the TicWatch Pro 3. So where do we start with the watch that's going to try to start the change to bring Wear OS into something we can be happy about? Arrives September 24th. You'll be able to buy it for $300. And again, it runs the Qualcomm Snapdragon 4100 Plus, which is the most important part. That said, Mobvoi, if you're not familiar with them, Google-backed company, they've made a bunch of products. They make a lot of true wireless earbuds that are solid. They've made a ton of Wear OS watches as well. They've all been pretty good, including their Pro line, which is obviously the third version of it. It's actually maybe the fourth version. Either way, TicWatch Pro 3. They made a bunch of Wear OS watches, so they know what they're doing. The hardware is typically nice, often sporty. They've kind of done pro sport stuff, whatever. Anyway, this is their Pro line, so expect higher end case, higher end band, the full set of specs, and again, all we really care about is the processor. So, tour of the back. This is really all you need to stare at. Snapdragon Wear 4100. Now again, there's 4100 and 4100 Plus. The Plus is what most Wear OS watches will run. This is, as far as I know, the 4100 Plus, not that it really matters. It says up to 72-hour battery life in smart mode, 45 days in essential mode, IP68 water resistant. It takes HD heart rate, stress and sleep tracking, blood oxygen saturation, so SpO2. The sleep stuff, Mobvoi, I believe, has been doing that for a little bit through their own app. So just kind of like Fossil does. Mobvoi has their own suite of health apps that you load on here, and they track stuff because Wear OS is still such an awful platform that Google has neglected that it can't actually do that for you. As Google Assistant, bunch of watch faces, it runs Wear OS. It has two displays. So if you're not familiar with this Pro line, Mobvoi does this sort of dual display thing where on the top they put this, it's almost like an e-paper display, and then that can kind of disappear in a way. It sort of goes see-through, and then you have an AMOLED panel underneath. Same deal here. Should be improved though. Has both speaker and microphone, so you can take calls out loud if you want. There's workout stuff, NFC for Google Pay, and it has GPS, hence the name TicWatch Pro 3 GPS. Let's see if I can get in this. Don't have a knife handy. We're going to need a knife. Knife in hand. Cut this open. I didn't cut too much there. Rip plastic off. Get off here, plastic. You know, you guys know I'm a Wear OS guy. And I've tried. I finally switched over to Samsung watches because they just had more stuff. Wear OS just wasn't going anywhere. So I'm looking forward to getting back on here and just seeing what we're working with. Anyway, this is the guide. This was in the box. TicWatch Pro 3 guide talks about power button. You also have a secondary button. No rotating crown on this like we have on some. On the back, so not wireless charging. It has pin charging. What else do we have? Anything else on here? Not much. Talks about some apps that you have available, that sort of thing, essential mode, all that. Anyway, here is the watch. So what you have is, good grief. So a little sticker here on the watch. Take that off. All right, so this strap, I don't really need to go too much into the strap here, but rubber strap, supposed to look premium leatherish because of, the contrast stitching, but it's rubber. Actually, probably one of the nicer bands I've seen them put on a watch, so that's good. Specs. What else do you guys want to know? Let's see. Do I need to turn this on with the charger, or can I do it? It said the power button was up top, didn't it? Might work. Sometimes you have to slap these on a charger first. Ooh, it vibrated. All right, TicWatch. So this is the TicWatch Pro 3. You have a 1.39 inch dual layer display that I was talking about. So it's a Retina AMOLED. And then a low power FSTN display sort of on top that kind of lets you basically preserve battery life. It has a full gig of RAM, clutch, 8 gig storage, 577 milliamp hour battery, which is, I believe, is their biggest. What's crazy about that is this watch looks remarkably thin for having such a big battery. The new chipset, 8 gig storage. It's IP68. I believe I mentioned that from the box. NFC, Google Pay, GPS, and then of course heart rate sensor there, which they're calling HD heart rate. You can see TicWatch Pro 3 there. Very light. This is I believe parts of this are probably metal, but this is also some plastic going on. It looks great though. I'm actually very impressed too at just how thin this thing is. There's your speaker there, by the way. Wow, cannot wait to get this on. All right, so those are the specs. Let me turn this on. Let me connect it to a phone so you can actually see it in action. Be right back. Well, here it is. It's fired up, connected to my phone, and I'm so ready to get this thing on the wrist. First of all, though, I forgot to show you what else was in the box. So it was just a charger. So here's the charger. It's got like a little pin thing going on. And then on the back, pin action, it just slaps on. It's fairly magnetic. Yeah, you can even hold the watch while it does that. And it's charged fairly fast. I think I was at 80 out of the box. I've had it on for just a few minutes and we're basically back up to 100. So anyway, let's take that off. So the watch, you know, I believe there's probably an update coming. This isn't running the newest, what is it? MR2, H2, whatever the newest Wear OS watch is that the Sunto 7 just got first. I'm pretty sure this will probably get that. And once it does it, it might add some expanded functionality. Don't fully quote me on that, but just because that's the newest update and this is the newest watch, I can't imagine what happened. But anyway, this watch, so I didn't show you guys the setup process. Partly because it's still on the older firmware, and so that process hasn't been sped up like it has again on the Sunto 7. But just swiping around in this thing feels so much better, so much smoother. It's more responsive. I mean, you just like click this. The app drawer has changed too. I can't remember if Mobvoi watches have had this different app drawer for a while, but different app drawer on here. Like one of the things, like if you just load up Google Play, like watch, did anyone see how fast that loaded? If you're on any other Wear OS watch, you know that green screen that pops up there first, just sometimes just spins and spins and spins and spins, and then it gets you here. It's already done. It updated the apps faster to get me ready to rock out of the box. I mean, like everything just happened faster. So, you know, we'll certainly test performance and all of that stuff. But what's cool is like, you know, you have the full health suite here. There's your Tick Health, Tick Exercise if you care. There's a separate Tick Pulse app, although it also has Google Fit integration. It can do 24/7 heart rate. Has sleep tracking, so it can do sleep tracking. There's like Zen and breathe modes to help you, you know, feel better about your day or calm down or just breathe and all that stuff. Tick Oxygen, there's your SpO2. It can do that 24/7. You can do voice memos, and it apparently the Tick hearing things, like it tries to figure out how loud things are around you. I'm honestly not sure. There's a calculator and some other just kind of Google apps and weather. And there's that essential mode that'll expand the battery for days and days and days if it's about to die. Find your watch. Here's all the Google Fit stuff. So fully loaded watch. One thing I always like to do is kind of show you guys some of the watch faces. So here's the Galaxy Fold 2. Here's a bunch of watch faces. So Mobvoi is actually really good about putting watch faces on here and updating them. And they offer sort of their own store where you can just get a bunch of watch faces. But anyway, here's a bunch of the watch faces you may see on here from time to time, depending on which one your mood is at. So a bunch of these watch, but there's obviously the entire watch store on Google Play. Plus, again, Mobvoi kind of has their own. The other thing I was going to show you though is remember the FSTN display on top. So right now I have an always on display setup. But if I go into settings and go to display and I turn off always on, this gives you the FSTN display. Now, I know you're not really going to be able to see that on camera. There's an angle where you can see it. So see how it kind of goes to that grayish looking digital format there? That is that display in action. And then I just touch it and it wakes up the normal one. So if you have always on display on, you don't get this. But if you have always on display off, you do get this. Now, I didn't really talk much about the Snapdragon Wear 4100, but what we're talking about and why we're so excited is it's a somewhat modern chip, certainly compared to the 3100 and 2100 your watch might run. Qualcomm's claiming an 85% higher performance boost over like the 2100, 3100. I mean, that's just insane. If that's actually true, and just buzzing around this thing, it feels just so much faster. RAM speeds up 85%, 2.5 times faster GPU, 22% reduction in GPS usage, 35% reduction while playing music over Bluetooth, 42% reduction when scrolling through notifications, the battery drain. I mean, there's improvements across the board, and there should be. That old chip was old, and this one is certainly much more modern. You'll have a richer ambient mode. I'm not sure they're taking advantage of that yet, but that just means way more colors in the ambient mode. In the ambient mode, I guess I would have to turn that back on. So the ambient mode is your always on display. And when you have that, the new ambient mode can have like thousands and thousands of colors where the previous version couldn't. There should be Bluetooth 5.0. They'll have to confirm that for you. But there's just upgrades across the board, including what should be new sports modes and things like that. This watch it's going to be awesome. Because a lot of you have a Fossil Gen 5, I just wanted to show you kind of a comparison size-wise. So a little bit bigger of a case. And then you have the side look. Sort of close to thickness. The TicWatch is probably a little bit thicker, but you have that massive 577 milliamp hour battery in there. Anyway, it's time to put it on the wrist. It's just taken way too long. Oh, this is my Garmin. You can see the size there, but my Garmin is like a Phoenix 6S, something like that. It's a smaller one. That's why. Anyway, on the wrist time, and there we go. All right, so we're on the wrist. Not the smallest watch I've ever put on the wrist, but that's not the worst size for sure. I've definitely put bigger. The Suunto 7 is just massive. I can't wear the thing. It's such a ridiculously huge watch. So pretty thin, rides fairly flat right there on your wrist, which is so important. Yeah, it looks pretty good. I'm not gonna lie. Nice weight to it. This rubber strap is actually very soft and nice, so that should be fun to play with. I don't want to keep you too much longer here, but yes, we will dive all into this thing, and I cannot wait to show you and share what we think about this new Wear 4100 series and Mobvoi's new TicWatch Pro 3. If you have comments, questions, let us know. We are Droid Life. Peace.